Welcome to the first official breakdown of the 2015 season. Today we're going to be going over actually what Utah did offensively against Michigan. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, there is no game tape recorded that I have of the Southern Utah game. So we're going to jump in and look at Travis Wilson on the run and what Devontae Booker was able to do out of the backfield. Out of the gate, we're going to look at a read option by Travis Wilson and Devontae Booker. The man they are reading is the defensive tackle here in the middle. Wilson reads him. If he chases the back down, he's supposed to take the ball and take it outside. If the if the defensive tackle has the responsibility, Wilson, Booker gets the ball up the middle. Now Wilson pulls because the defensive tackle went down on Booker, which is the right read. The linebacker did not get sucked in enough, but usually Wilson's going to run up and out the hole. But because he's athletic enough, he's able to dive through and make a play. The next look, which happens to be the next play, is an empty set draw from Wilson. If you notice kind of the numbers here, Michigan only has 6 guys in the box, 4 defensive linemen and 2 linebackers. As an offensive line, the way you block this, generally speaking, is the tackles force the ends kind of up the field, and the bottom side guard in this situation will also force his man up the field, which leaves your center and left guard for the one guy. As the play develops, you'll notice, Michigan players have taken themselves out of the play. Even the left guard here is sealed off the player and left one hole. The bottom side bubble screen action has pulled one of the 2 linebackers inside to the out, leaving Wilson with a one-on-one with the linebacker that was left in. Makes the move and is able to make a pretty good play. Just as a quick clarification here, when I say a play is supposed to be blocked a certain way, or if Wilson made a mistake, that is not my knowledge of Utah's system, but just kind of a general knowledge of how things were ran at Utah State and just a football knowledge I gained in my time playing, and not any indictment on Wilson or Utah. They could run it differently, but it's just how I see things. Next up is another read option that really Michigan runs, kind of the perfect defense to stop. They bring pressure off the short side of the field and bring everyone kind of crashing down towards where the receivers are bunched. This messes up kind of Wilson's read. I think he's supposed to read the defensive end, but because of the way the pressure comes, we end up having 3 guys coming off the edge. So, again, there's 2 guys coming off the edge actually right now, and a defensive tackle who's gotten way outfield past the guard. Wilson's supposed to be reading this defensive end here, but again, the corner, instead of sticking with the receiver like was envisioned on the play, is coming on the blitz. Again, this defensive tackle was able to get upfield past the block, which eliminates the handoff to Booker in this situation. Wilson shuffles with Booker, and again, you see the play is already broken down. There's 3 defenders on the backside the way Wilson run, and 1 defender right in Booker's face. Now, Booker's a good enough running back that he probably could have broken this tackle and ended up with a big play. In the end, Wilson pulls and ends up tackled for a loss of 3. One other play where Wilson, not necessarily that he made a mistake in the last play, but in a play where Wilson makes a mistake, is a little bit later in the game, second quarter. The fly sweep action comes to the south, and now Wilson is running, read option with Booker, and the man he's reading is actually the linebacker. Inside, you have a pulling guard to take on the defensive end. So Wilson eyes are on the outside linebacker. The offensive line has built a nice wall, and so since the linebackers are kind of trailing over the top, following Booker's action, this is a play where Wilson should pull and have a space up the middle. Now, if you look here again, Booker has the ball now and is going to the outside, but the linebackers, one's out of position, one's being blocked by the guard. And there's a couple holes here, but the offensive line, again, tackles locked up. These three on the inside have created a good seal. And the tackle on the outside is forcing his guy outside, leaving 2 lanes on either side of the guard. That's a little bit crowded, so we'll pop in some arrows here in a second. There's a lane here, and again a lane here. Now, to me, this looks like a play that Wilson should have kept the ball, but in an effort to get Booker going, they give it to Booker and goes outside for a couple yards. As we get into this last play, we're going to see another kind of read option with Wilson and a receiver coming across his face for a fly sweep. The action you're going to see is this receiver comes across Wilson, Booker goes out this way, and it's going to bring all the action from the linebackers and the defensive line down, and the defensive end here gets too far upfield in trying to stop the fly sweep. Here comes the sweep. Boom. Wilson reads that the defensive end is up. Again, you look at these linebackers that are coming down. Downhill the outside. Responsible is Booker in the fly sweep. The offensive line has built enough of a traffic jam just coming down here that will allow Wilson to escape up the middle. Now we're going to... Again, you got the defensive end here that came too far upfield in an effort to try to blow up the fly sweep in the backfield, but because Wilson is mobile enough, he's able to take full advantage of this. Now, as the play finishes out here, I think it's important to note just how many different types of read options they had and how Wilson was able to, for the most part, to read them very well and effectively open up Utah's playbook and allow them to use him as another option. Michigan was able to do a pretty good job of stopping Devontae Booker on the run for most of the game, but what they were not prepared for was just how much Utah would use him out of the backfield. Here we have a play, and the first thing to notice is kind of the numbers on the play. Michigan has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 guys just stacked on the wide side of the field. And that leaves kind of a mismatch on the top side. That leaves 3 blockers and Booker for 4 defenders. Now, as you see the play start to get going here, you'll notice that they leave the first level blockers alone. The defensive tackle and the defensive end or linebacker, they leave them alone on sort of a swing screen action, which takes the defenders out of the play. So now, right now, we have 3 blockers out in front for only 2 defenders. Booker makes a nice catch, turns upfield. The offensive line is able to seal off the defenders. And with a play like Booker, not being prepared defensively for this play could have easily been a touchdown if it weren't for, 44 being able to trip Booker up and slow him down. Another play late in the first half. The ball's in the middle of the field, so there isn't necessarily a balance of defenders. But if you look to the outside, the corners are stacked up over the receivers. There's 1 deep safety over the top, meaning there's not a lot of help. The linebacker is going to have to scrape across the defensive line, offensive line, be able to cover Booker. Here comes the pass. The offensive line has chopped the defenders. It's a swing pass all the way, a little swing screen, utilizing the wide receivers. And this linebacker was able to come in and make a great play. But, Booker, again, on a short pass out of the backfield, is able to pick up 7-8 yards. Moving forward, you'll see the same balance of defenders on a play. I believe it's the very next play, or 2 plays later, with the 2 corners and the 1 deep safety. This time the receivers come down, and they don't necessarily run slants, but they bring their defenders inside. Booker again on the swing, and it leaves a whole lot of room. Now, this isn't a designed Booker pass, but because the flare is there, look at the amount of room he has here. So I think Utah, looking to get Booker in space, is often, on most pass plays, going to run him on little swing routes or sit routes in the middle. And when you give Booker that much space, he's able to turn a 2-yard catch into a long pass play. Lastly, from Booker, we have a little bit of a different design pass straight to Booker. You're going to see the fly action be brought down, kind of everything move towards the bottom of the field. Booker's going to play action the handoff and just sneak out into the flat. Wilson's going to drop back deep and just lob it over the top to him. One important thing to note is that all Booker swing passes has gone towards the Utah sideline, which is just interesting in the way that they run that play. Again, now the action comes down, and the defensive end, or corner, I believe it was actually here, decides to chase Travis up the field. Travis makes a nice little lob pass to Booker, who's able to pick up the 4th and short. Now, these are a couple things that Utah has utilized well against Michigan, and I think they'll look to utilize against a strong Utah State defense to kind of slow them down and keep them moving side to side rather than attacking and aggressive like Coach Clune likes to run his defense. Well, that is it. That is all I have for this, I guess, inaugural episode of The Breakdown. Next week, we'll take a look at what Utah State was able to do against Utah. I think specifically I'd like to look at the wide receivers, but it will just depend on how the game goes. If you like what I do, hit the thumbs up button below, maybe subscribe, and let me know what you guys think. Let me know what I can make better, what you think I can do differently, and how I can improve this. I hope you guys enjoyed it.